So hello guys, welcome to the Izotope noise removal tutorial. So we're going to be looking at Izotope RX2 within Pro Tools and how to take some noise off a file using its simplest settings. So let's have a look. We've got an original track here.
C6, shot one, take one.
And we can hear obviously the noise, the motorway.
It's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your
And this
fault.
is the dialogue that we want to clean up. So
Might have been poorly anyway.
first thing to do, duplicate the track. Mute the track above. Now that was Control and M on a PC. I think Command and M on a Mac. It basically gives us a reference track. Make sure that we have how it sounded originally to hand, and also in case we do anything too drastic with this file that we've got the backup there. So there we go. So I'm just going to boot up Izotope now, and here we get the Izotope RX2 screen. So we've got our file. The first thing we need to do to get rid of the noise is find a noise profile. So in this case we're quite lucky because at the start of the clip here we have a nice long wait before the actor starts speaking. Sometimes you'll have to dig and find little bits in between the file, but you want to get the longest amount of time as you can. So in this case I'm going to grab this. Now there is some birdsong over that which might affect it a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. So we've done that, we've selected a piece of our clip, and I'm just going to go to learn. As you can see, it's given me this noise profile. This is quite handy and interesting to have a look at. You've got your different frequencies there and the decibels there, so we can see what frequencies are responsible for the most noise. So we've kind of got this strange kind of low frequency high range here, the rumble from the motorway, and basically now we've got the noise profile. We're going to apply it over a bit of that dialogue, and if I press preview now, it's going to play me the sound of the dialogue with the noise profile applied. So let's have a listen.
Gail, it's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your fault. Gail, it's not your
So
fault.
I'd say
Telling you
even
it's not
standard
your
settings,
fault.
that's done a pretty good job.
Gail, it's not your fault. I
You can
keep
play with the
telling you, it's
actual
not
amount
your
of
fault.
noise reduction that's going to be
Gail,
taken
it's
out
not
there.
your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your fault.
And as you turn this up,
Gail, it's not your fault. I keep
you can hear that the dialogue starts to become a little bit kind of tinny.
It's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your fault.
So that's really no good, because
Gail, it's not your
there's no
fault. I
point
keep
getting rid of
telling
one
you, it's
problem
not
to create a
your
new one.
fault.
So we're going to just pull this back. The smoothing you can use to kind of affect the amount of artifacts, and it can help.
Gail, it's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your fault.
But still, the best thing I think is to play a
a
kind of game where we get rid of everything in moderation. So we don't want to create too many artifacts in the voice to begin with. We just want to reduce the noise.
It's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your
I think that's quite a good compromise.
Gail, it's
Our
not
only
your
other problem
fault. I
here is
keep
these
telling
levels
you,
are coming
it's
in
not
quite
your
low, so I'm
fault.
going to boost the output of
Gail,
Izotope.
it's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your fault. Gail, it's not your fault.
I
I keep
think that's
telling you, it's not your fault.
Done a pretty good job. Now there's another
Gail,
interesting
it's not
setting
your
here. You
fault.
can
I
output the
keep
noise
telling you,
only,
it's not your fault.
and we can hear there what Izotope has taken out. You can hear that it has grabbed quite a lot of that dialogue, so that's going to be missing from the process file. So we can hear the smoothing there having some effect. So let's re-listen.
Telling you, it's not your fault. Gail, it's not your
So I'm
fault.
quite
I
happy
keep
with that.
telling you,
I think it's
not your
useful to
fault.
switch to and from
Gail, it's not your fault.
the output
I
noise
keep
only
telling you,
setting,
it's not
so you
your
can hear
fault.
that.
Gail,
But
it's not
that
your
sounded pretty
fault.
good to
I
me.
keep
So we're going to
telling you.
select the whole file now. Don't worry about previewing it, and it's using the real-time algorithm here to preview it. I always do this to preview because it just makes it quick. The track doesn't jump while you're listening to it, but to process the whole file I'm going to put it onto D, which is the best. So that should do the best job and the highest quality job. So let's process that file. So that's just running through the whole file now. So the first thing we need to notice is that it's clipped on the output, but if we look at our waveform, that doesn't look too bad. Now I suspect it's only clipped at the clap there, which it looks like it probably has. So I'm not too worried about that for now, but usually if it has clipped, you need to take a look at that and make sure that none of your dialogue's clipped. So let's have a listen to how that sounds.
Gail, it's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your fault. I think that guinea pig might have been poorly anyway.
So we can hear what it's done there, and I think that's done a pretty good job.
Gail, it's not
I'd perhaps have more of a play with that to make sure this does
Gail,
sound
it's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your
like there's a tiny little bit of artifact on some of that dialogue there, but to show how it's done, that's not too
Gail,
shabby.
it's not your fault. I keep telling you, it's not your fault.
So there we go. That's the Izotope RX2 noise reduction tutorial. Thanks very much.